Hi everyone, welcome. I'm Soraya. So for many years I've been using sponges and everyone asks what kind of sponge is it? Well, it's just a regular kitchen sponge that I buy at the dollar store. It's really nothing special. You can see the scrubby part here. And what happened was that many years ago, I wanted to spread out the paint a little faster and a little smoother. And so I decided that, a sponge would probably work. So I took it out of the package, dipped it in the paint, and I started sponging, and the rest is history, as they say. So today I'm going to be using one or more of these sponges, I'm not sure, to create a cloudscape. And I might use a brush just for some more finer detail work, but I'm not sure. So I don't know, let's see what happens. Okay, so I'm starting off with a dry sponge. It has been used. I just washed it and let it dry completely. So it's completely dry. And this is completely dry as well. Nothing on it. I didn't put anything. I just unwrapped it and put it there. So it's an 18 by 24. Okay, I'm going to show you all the colors that I use. But here you go. I put some black, white, and some burnt sienna, exactly. So I'm gonna start. It's gonna be very dramatic because I just love dramatic skies. So here we go. This is some, on the same one that I used there. This is Payne's Gray. This is looking very brown to me. So I'm going to add a little bit of sky blue light. I like that color. That's very nice. And I'm going to add a little bit more white to this part here. So I'm using a very light touch, and I'm going back and forth between all the colors that I've just told you about. And just the one side so far. Now, it being a 18 by 24, it's not going to take very long for this to really come together very quickly. But really, this is just a demonstration for you so that you can try it out yourself. Go and get yourself a small canvas. And if you like this technique, get yourself familiarized with it before you go ahead and go on to something very large. Mine are usually like 30 by 40 inches or 36 by 36. I've also routinely done 36 by 48 inches. So this time I just wanted to show you what can be done with just a few colors. And I know I said a cloudscape, but I might do something here at the bottom. I don't know. I'm just gonna add something like this along here. I don't want it to be really kind of too straight across or anything like that. Just kind of a suggestion. Okay, so I've turned the sponge around and I'm using the other side, and that's just some plain white. Just kind of feather it out nice and light, barely touching the canvas here. turn it around, turn it back to the original position. I'm just kind of scrubbing along here just to get some interesting shapes. I'm going to turn this the sponge around again, and I've added some of the sky blue light. I'm going to put some of that here. Just to show that there's maybe a storm coming through. And I do want to brighten up this white. I'm laying it flat and using both sides, so you're going to pick up both sides of the colors that are there already. And then when I want more blue, just pick it up again. Okay, and I'm going to go with the blue part again and just use white, lots of white on there. And when you have dark colors, it's easy to have a beautiful contrast. So I've got the Payne's Gray back onto the kind of lighter side here, and I'm going to use it down here, a little bit here. Dipped it in with the light blue there. The sky blue light is what it's called. And you can keep going over it. Use the white, go back in. Maybe just have that little bit less of the light blue here. Now the paint, I'm not stopping, so it blends together because it's still a little bit wet, but I haven't wet the sponge at all. It is dry. The paint is straight out of the tube. I'm not adding anything at all. Just be very free and flowing when you're doing this. So I've switched to a new sponge again. This is just dry. It's an old one. I did wash it, but it's completely dry. The other one became a little too saturated for me. So just going to try and use this to complete kind of this portion here. Okay, now I'm going back to the old sponge, the first one that I used, and I'm pressing to make a nice line here. Get it a little bit more interesting in here. When you squeeze it together, it makes a nice fine line. Went back to that second sponge, and I like the way this is looking here. It's very soft, Make sure you go in all kinds of different directions.
Sorry, I forgot to mention that I picked up the sky blue light and put that on my sponge and I'm working on that bottom area just to cover it all up. Just picked up a little bit of the white. Hadn't really intended it to go that far, but it worked out and I liked it, so it kept going.
Since this is dark over here, I'm going to balance it out by making this area dark as well. And that kind of looks to me like it could be like my usual beautiful waves that I always create. And that's because I just love to create them so much. I kind of go back to them so much because I love doing them. I love creating them. So rather than just a cloudscape, this is going to be a bit of a water here, not too much, just something maybe coming towards this mountain that's here. And you can see in a very short period of time with 2 sponges, something very interesting has been created. Turn the sponge around, that second sponge, and I'm just going to use some white here. I'm just kind of make them go everywhere. If you see I'm not sure if it was in my last video, but where my grandson wanted some mountains and sky. So this is a little bit like that, but still very different. So I wasn't sure if I was going to use a brush, but I am going to do a little bit here. This is some purple, and I'll show you again at the end. I'll show you all the colors that I used. You know, just simple, nothing too complicated here. Anyone can do this. Take your time. I think this color here is a bit dark, and I just didn't want to have it so dark. So you can lighten it up by introducing other colors. Now, because I put purple here, I might have to put, I always like to put some in the body as well. So in the clouds, I'm gonna be doing that, I think. Still not happy with the way that's looking. I'm gonna go back to my sponge, make a nicer, straighter line there. Press down hard when you're doing that. Okay, that's better. I'm liking the way that's looking. Now I'm going to go back to this second sponge and use a little bit of white just to kind of go over this part here. And just kind of go forward and back, and very light, just the corner. I want to add some of that purple with my brush in these dark areas here, just to have a little bit of that color. Present in the sky. I like that contrast there. Nice. Maybe a little bit here. I'm gonna add a touch, like the teeniest, weeniest little amount of water to my brush, just to let this flow a little bit more. I'm just basically using it as a stain. If you ever find that colors are a little bit too intense for you, just add a little bit of white. I added a bit of white and a little bit of this the light blue, the sky blue light. I like the purple and the sky blue light combination. It always works for me. You know, I really like using my fingers to spread out the paint. You can get some very nice organic shapes. I know it makes a mess of your hands, but it's worth it. Going back in here just to get a more definite shape there. Now I'm spending a lot of time trying to make this look really nice here, but you can just leave it with the way whatever the sponge created, the shapes and things that this sponge created. I just wanted to have a little something more of a detail, so you can get this painting done with just one brush, with just one sponge, I should say. You don't need to do this, but I love to use my brushes. So, oh, I messed that up. So that's why I do this, because I do love using. Again, you can use the sponge to get a nice straight line there. And you can also cut up the sponges, right, to get them to the size that you like. I want a nice sharp contrast there. That light against the light blue. And I'm gonna do that all the way over. And that ties in the sky blue light that's up here on the other side, on the right side of this painting. I like the colors to tie in. Sometimes it's subtle, sometimes it's not, but that looks good. I'm gonna add a bit of orange, and I've got another brush just because I want it really to be fine. First I'm gonna start here just to see if I like it. That's pretty good. Subtle. Again, I'll show you all the colors that I used at the end of the video. Okay, now I'm going to add some of this color to the sky and just going to do a little bit. Oh, it's not even coming off. Just a little bit. In with that bit of purple and orange, I'm adding the light blue. Again, I like that contrast. And I like that. I like this part here, so I'm going to try and do the same thing here. Get a nice contrast in here too. Just because I love it when you see that dark and then you've got something light happening. Something interesting. Okay, that sponge is not working, or this that brush wasn't working for me there, but switched over to this one. I'm gonna try and blend it and maybe add a little bit of the purple to my brush. You could add whatever colors you like. It's your painting. So I added this light blue, but I'm not loving it. So just going over it, getting it dark again. It's a bit too dark. Maybe add some purple in there. That's better. And I'm gonna go back with the other sponge and go over some of that a little bit. Very, very light touch here. Don't be afraid to try something. You can always go over it, and I like the way that looks. I was a little bit scared when I saw that, but it actually looks really nice to have that dark underneath. So have this dark kind of all over it. It just adds that much more interest. Now don't limit yourself if you have to use different tools to get the look that you want in your painting. You should do that. You know, I know at the intro I said I would use only a brush, only sponges, but I want the painting to look beautiful, and I'm gonna do whatever needs to come to get to that point. And I love to use brushes, as I've said, so. Okay, here are the colors I used. Liquitex Titanium White, Liquitex Mars Black, Pebeo Studio Burnt Sienna, Amsterdam Sky Blue Light, Liquitex Prism Violet, Amsterdam Azo Orange, and Pebeo Studio Payne's Gray. Okay, so here's the painting done. For the size of this painting, it really has a lot of drama, that dark going into the light, and then the water kind of splashing up against these barren mountains. I think it's pretty cool. Let me know what you think about it. But you can see all the colors that I used in there. And you can add as much detail as you like. I used just a couple of sponges and 3 brushes in a very short period of time. Let me know if you're going to try this. I would love to know. Click on the link you see now to see more of my sponge paintings. And I do have up-close images coming up.